Why did Thanos initially know that Tony would one day become Doom? And why exactly did the egoism of the Avengers give birth to Victor? Friends, Steve Rogers and the Avengers are true egoists. Their actions became the catalyst for the end of the multiverse. Everything that will happen in Avengers Doomsday is their fault. Let's break down how it happened. When Steve was returning the stones, it seemed like he was doing the right thing. In reality, his decisions launch a chain of events that creates Dr. Doom and threatens the destruction of the entire multiverse. An incursion is the moment when the walls between worlds crumble. Imagine you have two different universes, each with its own heroes, cities, and even different versions of yourself. And then, at some moment, these worlds collide. The laws are simple. One universe survives, sometimes not even one. This is an incursion. Exactly such a conflict of the future Avengers. Let's start with Avengers Endgame. The heroes decided to undo Thanos' snap. To bring back the dead, they went into the past and stole the stones. The plan worked. They snapped back and half of the universe returned. But here is the trouble. Every action in the past gives birth to a new branch. And this means instead of saving the world, they created several new realities. In the movie, there is an important scene. Hulk meets Strange's ancient mentor. She explains that if you take a stone, my reality will perish. Bruce promises to return everything to its place, and seemingly the problem is solved. But exactly here, Loki intervenes in the matter. Remember how he grabbed the Tesseract and teleported? For the audience, this was a short, just a funny scene. In reality, a turning point, because in the Loki series, we were shown that the TVA exists, Time Variance Authority. Their task is to keep one sacred timeline and destroy all extra branches. But Loki destroyed this system. The branches began to grow endlessly, and he, literally with his own hands, started to hold them, allowing the multiverse to exist. Beautiful, but deadly dangerous. And here is the paradox. The TVA exists outside of time. For them, everything happens simultaneously. Meaning, as soon as Loki disappeared with the Tesseract, the loom of time was already destroyed, and the branches of reality continued to spread apart.
Even when Steve returned the stones in the finale, it changed nothing. Moreover, Steve himself broke the rules. He stayed with Peggy in the past and created yet another alternative universe. The conclusion is obvious. The Avengers themselves gave birth to chaos. They saved their line, but opened the doors for dozens of others. And when there are too many of such worlds, they begin to collide. And this right here is an incursion. In the comics, it was precisely incursions that became the prologue to Secret Wars. Universes were ruining, and only one could survive. Then Doom took advantage of the situation and gathered a new planet from the debris of different universes. Battle World. He is not Thanos. Thanos wanted balance through death. Doom believes that only he is capable of saving everything. A harsh dictator, a thief of others' powers, but in his own eyes, he is a hero. The irony is that in one thing he is right. Exactly the egoism of the Avengers launched the catastrophe. Especially bitter look the actions of Steve. All his life, he spoke about self-sacrifice, but chose personal happiness with Peggy. His choice became the trigger for the end of the multiverse, and now their greatest enemy will have to fix the consequences. The finale of this story is Secret Wars. The fate of not just one reality, but of all existence will be decided there. And if the comics are our guide, then exactly Doom will turn out to be at the center of everything. Because he is not another villain, he is a god, created by the hands of the Avengers themselves. There are scenes that over time turn out to be more important than we thought. In Avengers Infinity War, there is a moment where Thanos says that he knows Tony Stark. Many perceived this as an Easter egg. Like, yes, he saw the reports, remembers the battle for New York, knows who Iron Man is. But if you look deeper, this is not just respect, this is a prediction. Thanos saw in Stark not just an enemy in an iron suit, but the future, doom. They simply explained the scene more simply. Thanos respected Stark because both of them are burdened with knowledge, meaning they understand the future and feel responsibility for it. But in reality, Thanos felt more. He saw that Stark is walking down the same path as he is, only further. If Thanos believed that chaos can be balanced by randomness, then Stark always believed in the opposite. Chaos can be defeated only through a system, through total control. Look at his history. In the first Iron Man,
he closed the weapons business and declared that all the weapons are only with me. This is already about control. In the Avengers, he alone understands that Earth is vulnerable and builds a planetary shield. In Age of Ultron, he creates a protector that is supposed to guard humanity. It didn't work out, but the idea itself is control through a system. In Civil War, he again chooses oversight and accountability, and Captain America chooses freedom. In the finale, he lives in his paradise, but as soon as a chance appears to fix everything, he rushes back. Everything Stark did was not about chaos and randomness, but about system and order. He is an architect. And right here, the archetype of Doom appears. In the comics, Victor Von Doom is a genius of magic and a dictator, but in the movies, they might show him differently, not as one specific person, but as a position, as an eternal role in the universe, like the one who remains in Loki. Doom is not a last name, it is a title. This is the place for the one who is ready to take upon himself the burden of total control. And Thanos understood that Stark is exactly like that. He saw in him the future Doom. Not literally that he will put on a green cloak, but as a person who will reach the limit and say that enough, everything will be under my hand. Now, imagine our Stark snapped his fingers, but the multiverse is infinite. Somewhere there is a line where he survived, where the gauntlet did not kill him, where he continued to live, but to live in a world that is ruining, where universes are colliding with each other, where the chaos cannot be stopped. And there, he decides, chaos cannot be defeated by balance. It can be defeated only through total control. Thus, Stark becomes Doom. This is not villainous logic, this is tragic logic. A person who always built systems finally decides to build one for the entire reality. And right here, the words of Thanos from Infinity War will acquire a new meaning. He said this not as fan service, he said this as a prophecy, because Thanos knew Stark was always on the path to absolute power. Thanos wanted to balance chaos, Stark wanted to subdue it with technologies. Doom is the final version of Tony who understood that balance does not work, freedom does not work, only absolute power works, and this is exactly what Thanos saw. Thank you for watching.